Welcome to Supply Chain Management. This is the open elective offered by Mechanical Engineering Department. This is the first module. In this module, we will discuss about Introduction to Supply Chain Management. This PPT has been prepared by referring many sources that includes figures, videos from the internet, and this is exclusively used for the purpose of education, and I wholeheartedly thank all those who have helped me in preparation of this PPT. Let us start with introduction to supply chain. Every product that reaches the end user represents a cumulative effort of multiple organizations, starting from suppliers till it reaches the customer. These organizations are referred collectively as the supply chain. While supply chain have been existing since a long time, but the problem is that many organizations had paid attention whatever they used to do within their four walls. In this sense, they did not worry much about uh, the end-to-end process. They did not worry about the customers and the suppliers. Customers and suppliers were not a part of the supply chain in earlier years. But nowadays, customers as well as suppliers have come into picture and they make a very prominent part of the supply chain. Only few businesses that managed the entire chain of activities that ultimately delivered products to the final customers. Those organizations which included both customers at the one end and suppliers on the other end made better use of these supply chains. Supply chain management is one of the very active management of supply chain to maximize the customer value and achieve a sustainable competitive advantage. Why the supply chain management is gaining importance nowadays? The reason is very simple and it's quite obvious. I need to make customers happy. When customers will be happy, when I care for a customer, when customer feels that I am being cared, my concern is being taken care of, my wishes are being fulfilled, when such kind of mindset starts developing with the customer, we will have a sustainable competitive advantage. And every organization is striving hard to get that pill of sustainable competitive advantage, and that's why supply chain management has gained a lot of momentum in current years. Supply chain activities cover everything. That's what I was telling you earlier. It was within the organization, within the four walls of the industry, but nowadays it has spread its wings outside the industry, and it has reached suppliers on the one end and customers on the other end. So it includes everything right from product development, sourcing, production, logistics, as well as the information systems that is required to coordinate these activities. To specifically tell here, information systems have played a very dominant role from past 10 or 15 years. They have become an integral part of the supply chain that has resulted in much improved supply chain and that has provided higher competitive advantages for the organizations. Let us take an example. Let us take an example of detergent manufacturing. So detergent manufacturer needs some of the raw materials, like say in order to pack the detergent powder, they need carton boxes. Those carton boxes are obtained from paper manufacturer. For paper manufacturer, timber company is the raw material supplier. So there is no link between detergent manufacturer and timbers company, but directly there is no link. But look at the indirect link. He supplies raw material to paper manufacturer prepares the carton boxes, and that becomes an input to detergent manufacturer for packaging. And coming to the manufacturing side, a chemical manufacturer supplies uh, chemicals for the manufacture of the detergent, and then the plastic producer, he supplies the plastic pouches for the detergent manufacturer. Then it reaches the retailer, then it goes to store or the person who actually sells it, and then finally it reaches the customer. This is the chain. These people, those who do not have any direct link, even they are a part of the entire supply chain. So we cannot imagine one product may have its link somewhere which is absolutely unthought of. We wouldn't have thought of that particular supplier as a part of our supply chain, but he will be a very important part of our supply chain unknowingly. A typical supply chain may involve variety of stages like see customers, retailers, wholesalers, distributors, manufacturers, components, raw material suppliers. All these form integral part of the supply chain. See, it starts from the customer. Why it should start from the customer? Because without customer, nobody can exist. Whatever we are doing, whatever we are trying to impress, whatever we are trying to manufacture, finally it should reach the customer. If customers are not happy, then whatever we are doing, everything would be futile. So I need to be very careful there. I need to be very cautious that customers are prioritized. Okay, customers are being prioritized, but who will give my product to the customers? I need to take care of the retailers. Retailers make a very important part of my supply chain. If retailers do not supply my product to the customers, I cannot reach the customer irrespective of the fact that my product is good or bad. Retailers are very much necessary. If I take care of retailers, then what about wholesalers? I cannot supply my product to retailers directly. It is very, very difficult. Transportation cost will increase. That's why what do I prefer? I prefer to supply my product to wholesalers or distributors. Distributors in turn will supply the product to retailers, who in turn open a store for the customers. So wholesalers are as important as retailers. Then comes the manufacturer. Manufacturer manufacture a product in order to satisfy the needs of the customer. Customer will raise a need. Manufacturer will manufacture that, and retailers and wholesalers supply this part to the customers. And finally, from where manufacturer gets the raw materials, the components or the raw material suppliers. Suppliers are also an integral part of the supply chain. This is the difference between earlier supply chain and the present year's supply chain. Earlier, suppliers were not a part of the supply chain. Manufacturers used to think with a very narrow mind, but now suppliers make the one end, customers make the other end. This is how the entire supply chain has been built. Look at this diagram. This diagram explains the entire supply chain structure. We have multiple vendors, we have multiple plants, we have multiple depots or the wholesale dealers, and we have multiple retail outlets, and we are having multiple customers. Multiple customers will visit the retail outlets with a specific wish or a specific need or a specific want, and retail outlets must be having those products what the customers wants. And who will supply those products? These depots or the wholesale dealers. If the wholesale dealers do not supply the parts on time to retail outlets, and when the customer arrives at the retail outlets, and if he or she doesn't find what they want, they feel disappointed, and they will have to be contented with whatever is available, and that should not happen. If that happens, that retail outlet may lose the business in the long run. So this customer, if he is not happy with this outlet, he doesn't stop there. He goes to another outlet where he can satisfy his needs. He has multiple choice now. He need not have to be contented with whatever the retail outlets provide to him. He can go to any retail outlet that is nearer to him, and he is not bothered to travel a little bit for the want of his particular choice. In order to satisfy his particular need or want, he can travel to any length. That is the way in which customers are behaving nowadays. He doesn't bother to travel some distance. That's why retail outlets are expecting to flood their outlets with multiple variety of products which are supplied by multiple depots, and there have to be as many depots as possible at various places in order to reduce the transportation costs. And these plants, what they produce, they will be supplying to multiple depots. There is no rule that this plant will be supplying to only one or two depots. Of course, there is a restriction of transportation cost, and that's why if it is a global company, normally these companies will open plants at various places. And even at India itself, there will be one plant to cater the needs of the southern India, and there will be one plant to cater the needs of northern India. That's quite common. Maruti has a plant at Noida, and it has a plant at Pune. Tata has a plant at Pune, it has a plant at Anand. It wanted to open a plant at Singur, but due to political prevailing situation, it had to shift it from West Bengal to uh, Gujarat. So what Tata had thought, I have already a plant at eastern part of, I mean to say western part of India, so let me move towards eastern part of India, but it did not materialize. This is what happens. Even companies are planning to open multiple plants in order to reduce the transportation cost, and most importantly, the time to reach the customer. If the transportation time increases, time to reach the customer increases, and customers are totally unhappy with that. They want the products at the nick of the time, and that's why plants plants are being opened at multiple locations, and even vendors will be supplying to multiple plants. Except Toyota has a separate rule of one vendor to Toyota only, 1:1. Except that particular concept, most of the plants will get it their parts from many vendors, and each vendor will be supplying to multiple plants also. Both are possible. So when I see the entire thing, it appears like a network. That's why there was a debate Why it should be called as supply chain? Why it is not supply network or a supply web? It appears more like a network, right? Appears more like a network. It appears more like a web. Why it should be called as a chain? Many people discussed about that, and they felt that the material flows in this forward direction towards the customer, and the information and the finances flow in the reverse direction towards the vendors. Thereby it makes a complete chain. And in a chain we cannot say that which link is more important. All links are very very important. All of them need to be designed in the same way so that their strength remains the same, and in this way they have decided to name it as supply chain. What are the advantages of supply chain? The first one is it develops a better customer relationship and service. Customers are given the utmost important. Customers are an integral part. They are kept on top, and that's why our relationship with customer will be better. Creates better delivery mechanism for products and services in demand with minimum delay. Why it's minimum delay? Multiple plants, multiple depots, multiple retail outlets are being opened, and that's why the time to reach the customer has been reduced drastically, and supply chain management has played a very key role in that aspect. Next advantage is improvises productivity and business functions. It improvises productivity. What is productivity? Productivity means I need to improve the output with the reduced input. Output can be in the form of goods, services. Input can be in the form of human resource, finance, materials, effort that I am putting, even the information technology. I have to see that with less information, maximum gain can be obtained. I should not flood the customers or flood the entire system with information. That may not be really a very good solution. Customers may not be really happy to have huge amount of information. They would like to have very minimum information but maximum gain. So that is the another advantage of supply chain management. Next is minimizes warehouse and transportation costs. As I have already told you, multiple plants, multiple warehouses, multiple retail outlets will reduce the transportation costs. And because of the information technology being a part of the supply chain management, even the warehouses are getting reduced. They are interlinked. If you increase the number of warehouses, it reduces the transportation cost. If you want to control the transportation cost, increase the warehouses. If you want to reduce the warehouses, then you have to increase the transportation cost. In one or the other way, either one of them will be reduced. Minimizes direct and indirect cost. Since you have opened many outlets, and since customers are happy with the availability of variety of products, obviously what happens, your dead investment reduces. The amount that you have invested is immediately sold in the market. The transaction amount increases. The time that the money that flows or stays in the chain is very very less. In that way it reduces direct or indirect cost. Assists in achieving shipping of right products to the right place at the right time. 4 P's are an integral part of any marketing management: product, price, place, and promotion. So when the customer goes into the retail shop, if super bazaar or a mall or even a small grocery shop, when he asks for something, say I want this particular toothpaste, do you have Miswak toothpaste? And that Miswak toothpaste should be there. He goes into a Reliance Digital shop and asks for, I want a Dell laptop with this configuration, i7 or i5 with so many terabytes of capacity of RAM and all these configurations. That must be the speed of the processor. And if he says, I don't have that, but I can give you this, as a customer, shall we accept that? No, I do not accept it, because I have in my mind this particular brand is the most suitable brand for my kind of job, and I want that only. When you say that I don't have, when the retailer says that I don't have that, but I can give you this, customer says, I'm sorry, I will go to someone else, because my city is being flooded with retailers. Monopoly era is not at all there. In Mangalore itself, you can see how many malls are there. In Mysore, in Bangalore, wherever you go, even the tier 2 cities are being flooded with the super bazaars and malls nowadays. Earlier, they were all present only in metros and state capitals, but that's not the case now. Even the tier 2 cities have innumerable number of malls. And I own a car, transportation is not a burden for me at all. So that's why supply chain management ensures that the customers are supplied with the right products at the right place at the right time. Retailers need to ensure that they are doing that. SCM enhances inventory management, supporting the successful execution of just-in-time stock models. Inventory management has improved a lot. Earlier, inventory management was an integral part of the entire industry, and people used to have very huge inventory, hoping that their suppliers may not supply the product at the nick of their time. That's what is termed as just in time. Japanese terminology. Japanese started this concept of just in time. Toyota especially, wherein everything gets converted into final product right in time, and the customer will be waiting there to purchase that product. So there is no waiting of any inventory right from raw material till the final product. So SCM has played a very critical role here. The information technology has played a very critical role. People can get what they want right in time, or even the waiting time is very less. For example, Toyota cars wait in their dock just for about 3 to 4 days, that's all, within which that product will be sold in the market. That is what is necessary now. SCM has helped the industries to reduce their inventory, assists companies in adapting to the challenges of globalization, economic upheaval, expanding consumer expectations, and related differences. It's a globalization era now. Liberalization, globalization, privatization has brought in lot many challenges, lot many changes, and the economy is dwindling. Sometimes it goes high, sometimes it comes down, it falls like nine pins, and the customers' expectations are expanding like anything. And you just can't imagine what customers want today and what the customers will be expecting tomorrow. Their expectations are rapidly changing. Earlier it was 10 people used to use a particular vehicle or a particular product for 10 years. Wearing a cloth which is 10 years old was a pride thing for customers. I am using this cloth for 10 years, it is the 10th anniversary. People used to say it with pride. Why? They used to show that how durable this cloth is. But now people will laugh at us. If I say I'm using the same cloth for 10 years, I whether I want it or not, the situation is something like that. I need to change my wardrobe every year or 2 years or 3 years at the most. This is the requirement. And related differences, so many differences are happening, and I need to take care of all these things. I need to move into the new world, new into the new paradigm. SCMS has helped the organizations to achieve that. Assists companies in minimizing the waste, driving out costs, achieving efficiencies through the supply chain process. And this is another important thing. Waste have to be minimized, costs have to be reduced. If you do not reduce the cost, you cannot reduce the price. And remember one thing, people are not ready to pay higher price for everything. They will value the worth of that particular product. Customers have become smart nowadays. They will see whether this product is worth that or not. If they feel that it is not worth, they will change the product. They will go to someone else, some other brand. So I need to be very careful when I fix up the price. If I want to keep the price as per the requirements of the customer, the only way is that I have to reduce the cost. How it is possible? Minimize the waste. So this is how I need to see that customers are satisfied. And supply chain management has helped me because it gives me a very clear picture of what is happening. Reduce the inventory, where are the suppliers, informations or information is provided whenever I want. That is how I am able to gain this advantage. What are the supply chain management goals? Supply chain partners work collaboratively. They work collaboratively, not conflictingly. There is no conflicting environment. They work collaboratively. They not at only organization level but at multiple levels. It includes the resources, they construct standardized processes, remove duplicate efforts, minimize inventory levels. Different organizations sit together, combine together, technology transfer takes place. This is what is termed as collaborative management. Minimization of the supply chain expenses, that is the second goal. You have to reduce the supply chain expenses. Just for the reason information is available, don't flood it. Information is not free, you need to pay for that information. Unnecessary informations should be filtered. So that is another challenge that the supply chain management need to satisfy. When there are economic uncertainties nowadays, see, when everything seemed good, all of a sudden the pandemic has reached its new high, and I have to think in a different line now. So this is what the supply chain management need to do. Cost efficient, cheap products are necessary, but supply chain managers need to concentrate on value creation for their customers. That's what I was just telling you. People want a cheap product, but a high quality. They want high quality products at a lower cost. That is the need, and that's why we need to be reducing the waste. The next goal of SCM is exceeding the customer's expectations on a regular basis. It's not that you just satisfy them, you need to delight them. If they want A, you give them A plus. If they ask for one glass of juice, we need to provide them something extra. They will be delighted. You ask for a Dell computer, and if you are provided with a mouse or a headset free of cost, or a pen drive free of cost, we will be happy. And if one provides 2 3 things like that, we will be delighted. This is what is necessary. Supply chain management, whether it's at the wholesale stage or at the retail stage or at the manufacturing stage, people are expecting something more, and that is another goal of SCM. Increasing expectations of clients for higher product variety, customized goods, off-season availability of inventory, rapid fulfillment at a cost comparable to in-store offerings should be matched. See, my expectations are increasing. I need variety of products. I am not contented with one or two types. I want to see multiple variety. People are ready to move. That's what told you just now. People are ready to move to places. They are ready to travel 50 kilometers or even 80 kilometers just in search of the product of their choice. They are ready to move. They will not be contented to with the product available in one showroom. That's why retailers need to be very careful. To meet customers' expectations, merchants need to leverage inventory as a shared resource. And that is why super malls have become very popular. Earlier, we used to go to grocery shop and we used to give them a list of the items I want. Did I ever bother to see whether those items are available on display? Did we even today many of the old grocery shops, if you visit, can you see the products clearly? Do they display you those products? You give them the list, they will go to some inner portion of their shop and from there they purchase it. Whether it is good or bad, we do not know. It only based on the faith that we still go to the same old grocery shop, but the choice is changing. Look at the malls, super bazaars like Metro, Big Bazaar, etc. What do? Display of products. They display variety of products. Inventory is not a burden for them. Inventory is a show off for them now. It's a pride thing for them. And look at the customers also. Earlier, carrying grocery from grocery shop to home was something like very uncomfortable. But nowadays, pushing a cart with full of products purchased from a super bazaar is a pride thing for them. They do it happily. So their expectations, their choices are changing. They want to see multiple type of products, whether it belongs to FMCG category or electronics category or automobile category. It's a different thing. They are ready to, if they want to purchase an automobile, say car, they are ready to visit every showroom present in that particular city. They are not contented to go to just one showroom and purchase the car. So that is what is happening nowadays. So SCM should help the entire chain to achieve this particular goal. How supply chain management has evolved over time? There are three stages. First stage is from 1910 to 20, very early stage. Next revolution takes place during 60s and 70s, and the third revolution is the present revolution, started from 1995, and it's still counting. It has not stopped at 2020. It is still counting. What is the first revolution? The first revolution, it belongs to 1920s. Uh, that is the era of automobile companies uh, getting started to coming up or started to show off. That era belonged to Ford Motors and General Motors. Ford Motors were the number one at that point of time. They owned every part of the chain, starting from the iron ore till the manufacture of the car. uh, they owned everything, and they were boasting that they can convert an iron ore into a final car within 81 hours, just about 4 days, just about little bit more than 3 days. They were very happy to announce that. But the problem was, it was not a flexible chain. They could not handle wide variety of products. They, because they were managing everything. When they were managing everything, the complexities are more, the problems are more. As a result, what happened? Ford could not manage everything. They used to come up with only few types of the models of the vehicle, and customers had to be contented. But in order to overcome that problem, they came up with innovations, multiple innovations. At that point of during 1920s, 30s itself, they had introduced power steering, power windows concept. And during 1940s, 1930s and 1940s, they had introduced the a special arrangement for series parking facility. A rear wheel used to come up, and it had 180 degree, had the ability to turn 180 degree. You people might have watched it on YouTube. Rotate 180 degree and then park the vehicle very easily, and then the car used to come down. Such kind of innovations Ford had introduced, but the problem was, because of burden of managing the entire chain, they could not come up with variety, but innovation was there. But look at the General Motors. What General Motors did, they did not worry about innovation, they worried about the variety. Same kind of car with multiple colors, same kind of car with multiple interiors. That's what they did. So a little bit more features like lights, extra lights, something like that. So they attracted the customers with multiple variety, because they did not own the entire supply chain. They did not go towards owning the iron ore. They did not move towards the raw material suppliers. They procured various raw materials, they assembled and sold it in the market. That's how they managed the supply chain better. Until the second revolution, all these automobile companies were, they were all restricted to Detroit, which is the heart of any automobile company. The second revolution started during 1960s and 70s. From 20s till 60s, it was very difficult time due to First World War, and then due to various pandemics like plague and other things, and then the Second World War. People were in dire situation. So till 1960s, there were no much improvement in the SCM, but later the trend started. The company started improving. As a result, the trend changed, and customers started having money with them, so they wanted to have multiple variety. To deal with these changes, the supply chains had to be flexible and efficient, and supply chain were required to deal with wide variety because customers tastes were changing. The best example I can quote here you is the Toyota Motor Company. What Toyota did was, they procured materials from many suppliers, they just assembled the product. They did not manufacture anything. They just assembled every part and came up with the final product. Today there are nearly 129 companies under the umbrella of Toyota. These 129 companies supply parts to Toyota, and Toyota just assembles them and supplies to customers. Bulk of the components were sourced from large number of suppliers. That's what they term it as kiretsu. In Japanese language, kiretsu means set of companies with interlocking business relationships. See, it's not a supplier for them. They have a bonding with them. They have they are the partners of the company. They are not just the suppliers. I give you a very simple example. It happened in India. There was a paint supplier from Chennai to Toyota at Bidadi plant near Bengaluru. Some problem occurred in that Bidadi plant, and the plant owner said, I cannot supply paint to you, I am closing it off. If that were the case, normally what any company would have done, they would have said, okay, fine, okay, thank you, they would have said, and they would have changed the supplier. But Toyota normally does not do that. As I said, Toyota treats its suppliers as its partners, not just as suppliers. Toyota went to the company, discussed with the workers, discussed with the owners, tried to understand the problem, they solved the problem, and then made them a partner and helped them to improve the paint, and later that company was taken over by Nerolac. This is how Toyota helped that company in Chennai to overcome problems. Okay, this is what Kiretsu means. They have a very long-term relationship with all the suppliers. This example will explain everything. The system is called as lean manufacturing system. They want to keep everything lean, minimum. They do not have multiple suppliers. They have single supplier. Lean manufacturing will help you to set up the setup time at a very low level, because setup time means it is the total time required to prepare the machines for manufacturing, and that helped them to reduce the setup time, because setup time normally takes up 30 to 40% of the total cycle time. They use the concept of single machine, single minute exchange dies, SMED. That helped them to reduce the setup time and long-term relationship with the suppliers. But Toyota system got into problem where when they tried to move to the other part of the world, from Japan to other part of the world, because the culture at that country was different, culture at this country was entirely different, they could not cope up with. So as a result, what they had to do, they had to even carry their suppliers to that company. They had to ask the suppliers to come and open plant in that country. That was not possible. That made the company to face lots of difficulties. So with the advent of electronic data interchange, which facilitated electronic exchange of information between the firms, SCM, supply chain management, with IT, helped Japan to set up various plants at different parts of the world without making the suppliers to move. So they can exchange the information with the local supplier there. They trained them, and now even at Bidadi, most of the things are indigenously developed. Nearly 90% of the parts are indigenously developed, and that too many of them in and around Bangalore only, or southern part of the country. Very few parts like engines, they come from Japan. and unless or otherwise it is very much necessary, they do not go with very distant supplier. The third revolution that started in 1995, still counting. Information technology is the major input for this. See, for example, Dell computers. Dell computers allows customers to configure their own laptops and track the same in their production and distribution system. You need not have to go to any dealers, if you want to make any changes. We can update our system online with just one click on the button. The entire system gets updated, but that was not happening. We had to go to dealer, we had to insert a CD, do the updates. That was the time. But now look at the third revolution, information technology. Supply chain management has become very, very simple nowadays. That success goes to information technology, and that is why computer science department needs the knowledge of SCM, supply chain management. You are an integral part of supply chain management. Now, even though I have given you the examples of manufacturing industries, you may be wondering why this subject is being introduced for me, for a computer science engineer, for an information science engineer, because CS, IS, EC, they make an integral part of the third revolution. Apple offers personal digital services to its customers. iPod is the classic example. iPod carries everything in it. And if I carry iPod, I can do wonders. I can do any service from at any part of the world. Earlier, if any of my machine used to break down, or if I wanted to update my software, I had to ask for the supplier to come and do the update. But now he says, you make a call, I will help your instructors to do that, and it happens within half an hour. My system gets updated, my software gets updated, my machine minor repairs my own instructors can do, or at least he can diagnose what the problem is. This is the advantage. Bharti Airtel allows services like My Airtel app, through which customers can have unique personalized experiences. If you have used this My Airtel app, Airtel Thanks app, now it has been changed to Airtel Thanks app. I can get multiple services there, just one click on that. Immediately I will get a call. What is the problem? So this is what the third revolution, the supply chain management. See, it's not just the supply of goods or services to the customer. It is the long lasting relationship with the customer that is very, very important. So that is possible because of information technology. Key historical perspectives, these are the three principal streams: sourcing, procurement and supply management, materials management, and the logistics and distribution. Let us discuss one by one. First one is sourcing, procurement and supply management. These functions arose in the areas of purchasing, which came to occupy a predominant position in the business because of their impact on cash flow and contribution towards the company profitability. Purchasing was not a very key department earlier. Manufacturing was a key department, marketing was a key department, finance was a key department, purchasing was always a sidelined department, sideline function. Nobody bothered about purchasing. But later what happened? But better late than never. Businesses realized that efforts required to increase the profit with a better purchasing system could save huge cost to them. Purchasing from a proper supplier saved nearly 20 to 30% on their purchasing cost, which was a waste for them. Japanese taught this to the entire world. Instead of going with multiple suppliers, you go with a single supplier known as sole suppliership. Make a bond with them. Treat them as your partners, not just as suppliers. So your bonding, your partnership will last long and you will get the parts at the most competitive price, not the highest in the market. So this helped the procurement, the entire purchasing function. Many major purchases came to be handled by the top management, who in turn depended on purchase specialists for advice. The responsibilities of the purchase function, however, ended with procurement and function of the material management took over. In the context of the supply chain management, these processes fall under sourcing. That's what has happened, man. It has been outsourced now. Supply side management, inbound logistics, supplier relationship management, together with materials, information, and cash flow interconnected with each other. All these are being done together nowadays. They are not exclusive, they are all inclusive nowadays. All these functions are included together. Next part is the materials management. First one is the procurement. Why purchasing is very, very important. So in purchasing, we have a very important role for information technology, like multiple suppliers are available. One example I will tell you. One of my friends got an order from a startup which was manufacturing a electric scooter. They wanted to develop a 3D model and the entire model with 3D printing technology or whatever the technology you use. My friend started to search for a 3D printing company. They got hold of 3 to 4 companies, but what my friend wanted and what they were delivering, there was a mismatch. They were not convinced, but later they outsourced this. They outsourced this searching job, and to their surprise, that 3D company which these people wanted was just 500 meters away from them. These people did not know. That is the beauty of information technology. Information technology has helped the companies to get the information at any point of time, just like this. And that is how people are very happy, and that's why outsourcing has gained huge momentum. Instead of you doing every job, you include as many people as possible within your supply chain. That will make your job easier. That is how people are working. Then comes the materials management. This is also another important thing. People, they earlier they used to have their own warehouses, their own inventory management, their own transportation, but the trend has changed now. What is the new trend? The new trend is that there is an integrated materials management. What is that integrated materials management? Order processing also has become a part of this materials management. Warehouse owner is someone else, transportation is someone else, and I will get the material at the nick of the time. Order processing is someone else. I will ask for a particular material to X. X will get it from Y. Y will get it from Z, and finally I will get the material. This is what is happening nowadays. It is not that I get the material directly from Z. Z supplies to Y, Y supplies to X, X supplies to me. Because I do not know where Z is. The amount that I spend in searching for that Z is too high for me. That's why I just leave that job to X. And the amount that I am spending in getting the material is cheaper or lower than what I used to pay earlier. That is the integrated materials management. Since materials constitute almost 60% of the cost of any manufactured products, at least in the Indian context, the importance of efficient management of materials are very important. The merger of purchasing, which presented opportunities for reduction in the cost of material inputs with materials management, has become obvious. As I said, purchasing has become an integral part of the materials management now. Earlier it was not the case. People were okay. Materials management was different, purchasing was different, but now they are together. The relation to supply chain management may be regarded as the management of flow of materials, info, into and through and out of an enterprise, adding in the process the value for the customers, both internal and external. Internal customers are employees within the organization, external customers are the end users. Okay, so all these things, all these fellows, both internal customers as well as external customers, are part of this SCM now. The third part is the logistics and the distribution. Let me just throw some light on the logistics and distribution, how it came into picture. It started coming into picture during World War II, logistics management, and it restricted itself to the storage, warehouse building, storage, stores management, inventory management. That was the logistics. Earlier people used to study only logistics management. SCM was not a great subject, or it was not very important at that point of time. Logistics management was very important because it started during World War II itself, because moving the material, storing them during, especially during wars, you can very well understand the importance of the storage, importance of the delivery and all those things, right? So that was studied then, but later it was thought that effective forward and reverse flow of the storage of goods, services, related information between the point of origin and the point of consumption in order to meet the customer's requirement, they were all a part of this supply chain management nowadays. Has now this definition, the definition here: efficient, effective, forward, reverse flow storage of goods, services, everything, whatever you have here, say that it's an continuation of logistics management. It has emerged as an integrative philosophy and a strategic level business practice which encompasses flow of materials, funds, and even information throughout the network that ultimately delivers value to the customer. So whatever I am doing, everything is for the customer, and SCM has helped me to serve my customer better. How SCM has helped me to serve my customers better? Because of the information technology. So this is the link between information technology and SCM. Thank you.